Summer is in full swing at Spellbinders this month, so the club kits this month feature everything from beach themes to sunshine to waves to citrus and more. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I have a bunch of different kit clubs to share with you. So we're going to dive right into the card making. I'm not going to show every detail of the card making, but you'll get a real feel for each of those kit clubs that I'm sharing today. First, let's take a look at the 3D embossing folder of the month. It is this fun citrus pattern. These could be orange slices, lemon slices, lime slices, whatever you want. I created lemon slices. It's still a little wet from the Mighty Mister that I use to wet the paper before putting it through my die cut machine and embossing it. I've decided to add a little bit of squeezed lemonade distress oxide ink to the centers of these oranges because oranges tend to have a lighter part and a darker part to them, and I thought it just added a nice glow to this background. I created another background just like that, and this time I'm adding little white seeds or pith to those oranges. Next up is the embossing folder of the month. This is a wave embossing folder. You can see that these embossing folders are 6x9, so they would fit a 5x7 card. Sometimes I like to add white pigment ink right on top. Just don't press down too hard, go lightly across the pattern, and it really helps it stand out, and it looks great on both sides. This is the wax seal of the month. It is a great sunshine and cloud image, and the beads are a mix of beads. This is the clear stamps. There are also dies available. I love these keys for a hotel room, and then these images are just so much fun, and the sentiments say things like hello from paradise, sending sunshine kisses and birthday wishes. This is the Glimmer Kit of the month. You can see that the glimmer is all one piece, and then the die is all one piece as well. Makes it very easy to get really good glimmer foiled sentiments and then cut them out in one pass in your die cut machine. This is my favorite way to do foiled sentiments. So anytime I see these, I love to grab them. This is part of the stitching dies of the month. This month it is an ice cream cone, and there are two different sentiments that you can die cut out of the die, which is a flag. So just a great combination of dies. I cut both of the cone pieces out of craft cardstock, and I just wanted to show you how easy it is and how both of them have different patterns on them. So long stitches up and down for the top part of the cone. This is very easy to do, and I know I didn't get it done as quickly as I did on screen, but it was really easy and pretty relatively quick as well. These are also long stitches, so they don't take long to do at all. I like to use liquid glue behind any of my stitching projects because the little thread pieces may be hard to adhere down to paper unless you use a nice strong liquid glue. There's also that little piece that you can die cut and adhere down to the top of the cone to make that lip on the top of the cone. This is the stencils of the month. There are several different stencils in this set. So there's the beach balls, then there's a sun with rainbow arches, and then there's clouds and a sun. So lots of options. This is the Better Press of the month. It's a large palm leaf image and then two sentiments, and there are dies to cut out the two sentiments. Love when they include the dies to cut out those sentiments. And as you know, I love to foil Better Press plates as well. So I ran them through the Better Press machine to create that blue and orange. Then I ran them through the Glimmer to create that platinum and gold look, and also did the sentiments, and then I'll cut those out. For this card, I'm using that blue Better Pressed palm leaf. So I'm cutting it down to 4 by 5 1/4. I'll tie some silver thread around that in order to match it with the silver paint pen that I used on top of the wax seal. I loved the wax beads this month, that mix. You can mix them together completely, or you can do what I did and create that marbleized look. Of course, I'm using the wax seal circle adhesives to adhere down on top of the thread. And then because this is all 4 by 5 5 1/4, I'm matting it on some Spellbinders cardstock. I'll add one of the sentiments from the Better Press that I ended up foiling, and I'll pop that up with some Spellbinders foam squares. Really simple card to create, but it has really pretty impact. And this next one, I'll use the orange Better Press that I created and pair it with one of the clear stamps and dies that I stamped, colored, and cut out. So I have that popped up on a foam square, and then I have a glimmer sentiment that I pop up as well. And it says, "May you enjoy your retirement to the fullest." I love retirement sentiments because there aren't a lot out there. Next, I took some of those oranges that I added the seeds to in the center, and I cut them out so that I could pop them up on this background that is the Better Press plates foiled. This one says, "Hope things are sunnier soon." Just a nice positive message to send. For the embossed waves, I will use the Spellbinders trimmer to cut them down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I'll use some Spellbinders tape runner and mat it on some white cardstock to pull out the white that I added to the top of the waves. I also added one of the stamped, colored, and die cut images along with some of the glimmer sentiments. And you can see I glimmered the hello friend on the same color of cardstock I used in the embossed background, and then the other sentiment is on white cardstock. All right, for this stitching die set, I cut out the scoop of ice cream. It needs to be cut out separately with the die, and then you cut it out with these stitching dies as well, and that will create the holes. For the banner, I did cut it out of gold mirror cardstock and then cut the whole banner out of white cardstock so that you could see the background. For that little scoop of ice cream, I am ink blending around the edges just to create a little bit of depth and dimension there. And then I'll use some liquid adhesive to adhere the little uneven part of the scoop that sits at the top of the cone. There's also dies to cut out a cherry, a stem for the cherry, and a leaf for the cherry. So I put those together, and then I'll add a line of liquid adhesive on the top of the cone and place my scoop right on top of that. Next, I'll take a small foam square and add that to the back of the cherry and pop that up on the ice cream cone. I have a background that I embossed with the Waves embossing folder of the month, and I'll add one of the sentiments on the cone itself that says "Have a sweet day," and then one of the glimmer sentiments at the top that says "There's nothing better than ice cream and you." For this card, I'll use one of the stencils. So I have an A2 piece of white cardstock stuck down on my waffle flower grip mat, and that is on top of my glass mat. And then I'll use some blending brushes to blend the sun first at the top of the card. Next, I'll move the stencil down and use one of the arcs, which I'm going to use as a rainbow arc, and just ink blend in a rainbow of colors, moving the stencil down each time. You can see that I've taped off a part of the sun that was just for at the top so that I wouldn't ink blend in a place where I didn't want it. I changed the color of the sun to a slightly darker color because I wanted the arc of the rainbow yellow to be the lighter color. And then I'll add one of those die cut sentiments from the stitching die that says "Have a cool summer," and mat the whole thing on gold mirror cardstock. For another stencil card, I'll start with the sun again at the top. Now for these clouds, what I'll do is just ink blend at the very top and then bottom of the cutout part of the stencil. This will make the outside look blue and then the clouds look like a puffy white. For this stencil, I will start with the first layer, which is one layer of the beach balls, and I'll just cover all of those in yellow. I'm making this easy on myself, not trying to color them in with different colors. I'll line up the second stencil over the white parts of those beach balls and then use salvage patina on top of this stencil. And once you have that done, you can add the third stencil, which is just the little top of the beach balls, and this time I'm using Distress Oxide ink in Prize Ribbon. I thought Prize Ribbon looked a lot like the Cosmic Sky cardstock that I love from Spellbinders, so I glimmered some sentiments there that say, hello friend, it's time to make summer memories, and added those on some foam squares. For the stitching die, you can also just use the dies. You don't need to cut out the stitching pieces. So I cut out the cone and I cut out the scoop and I cut out the little bottom of the scoop that's kind of the edge around the cone. And I'll do a little ink blending on all of these just to add a little bit of color so my vanilla doesn't look completely washed out, and then my cone has a nice edge to it as well. And I'm using that 3D embossed background with the orange slices and just the little hint of squeezed lemonade in the center. I popped up one of the glimmer sentiments on top, and I have a lighter colored cherry, looks like one of those Rainier cherries, at the top of this ice cream cone. And I love the combination of the oranges and the ice cream. I hope you can tell how much fun I had playing with the kit clubs from Spellbinders this month. But I'd love to hear if anything caught your eye this month. Let me know in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Hope you could tell that sunshine waves. Okay.